Using the road. Rules 159 to 203. Rules for using the road, including general rules, overtaking, road junctions, roundabouts, pedestrian crossings, and reversing. General rules. Rules 159 to 161. Rule 159. Before moving off, you should use all mirrors to check that the road is clear, look around to check your blind spots, the areas you wouldn't be able to see if you were using only your mirrors. Signal if necessary before moving off, and look round for a final check. Only move off after you've confirmed that it is safe to do so. Rule 160. Once moving, you should 1. Keep to the left unless road signs or markings indicate otherwise. The exceptions are when you want to overtake, turn right, or pass parked vehicles or pedestrians in the road. 2. Keep well to the left on right-hand bends. This will improve your view of the road and help to avoid the risk of colliding with traffic approaching from the opposite direction. 3. Drive or ride with both hands on the wheel or handlebars whenever possible. This will help you remain in full control of the vehicle at all times. You may use driver assistance systems whilst you're driving, so long as you make sure you use any system according to the manufacturer's instructions. 4. Be aware of other road users, especially cycles and motorcycles, who may be filtering through the traffic. These are more difficult to see than larger vehicles, and the riders are particularly vulnerable. Give them plenty of room, especially if you're driving a long vehicle or towing a trailer. You should give way to cyclists whenever you're changing directions or lane. Do not cut across them. It's dangerous. 5. Select a lower gear before you reach a downhill slope. This will help you control your speed. 6. When towing, remember the extra length will affect overtaking and maneuvering. The extra weight will also affect braking and acceleration. Rule 161. Mirrors. All mirrors should be used effectively throughout your journey. You should 1. Use your mirrors frequently so that you always know what is behind and to each side of you. 2. Use them before you signal, change direction, or change speed. 3. Be aware that mirrors do not cover all areas and there will be blind spots. You need to look round and check them. Remember, mirror, signal, maneuver. Overtaking. Rules 162 to 169. Rule 162. Before overtaking, you should make sure 1. The road is sufficiently clear ahead of you. 2. That others are not already trying to overtake you. And 3. That there is a suitable gap in front of the road user you plan to overtake. Rule 163. Overtake only when it is safe and legal to do so. You should 1. Not get too close to the vehicle you intend to overtake. 2. Use your mirrors, signal when it is safe to do so, and take a quick sideways glance if necessary into the blind spot area before you start to move out. 3. Do not assume that you can simply follow a vehicle ahead of you which is already overtaking. There may only be enough room there for one vehicle. 4. Move quickly past the vehicle you're overtaking once you've started to overtake. Allow plenty of room, then move back to the left as soon as you can, but do not cut in. 5. Take extra care at night and in poor visibility when it is harder to judge speed and distance. 6. Give way to oncoming vehicles before passing parked vehicles or other obstructions on your side of the road. 7. Only overtake on the left if the vehicle in front is signalling to turn right and there is room to do so. 8. Stay in your lane if traffic is moving slowly in queues. If the queue on your right is moving slower than you are, you may pass to overtake on the left. Cyclists may pass slower moving or stationary traffic on the right or left, but should proceed with caution, as drivers may not be able to see them. Be careful about doing so, particularly on the approach to junctions, and especially when deciding whether it is safe to pass lorries or other large vehicles. 9. Give motorcyclists, cyclists, horse riders and horse-drawn vehicles at least as much room as you would when overtaking a car. As a guide, 1. Leave at least 1.5 meters when overtaking cyclists at speeds of up to 30 miles per hour. Give them more space if you're overtaking at higher speeds. 2. Pass horse riders and horse-drawn vehicles at speeds under 10 miles per hour and allow at least 2 meters of space. 3. Allow at least 2 meters of space and keep to a low speed when passing a pedestrian who is walking on the road, for example, if there is no pavement. 4. Take extra care and give more space when overtaking motorcyclists, cyclists, horse riders, horse-drawn vehicles and pedestrians in bad weather, including high winds and at night. Finally, you should wait behind motorcyclists, cyclists, horse riders, horse-drawn vehicles or pedestrians and not overtake if it is unsafe or not possible to meet these clearances. Rule 164. Large vehicles. Overtaking these is more difficult. You should 1. Drop back. This will increase your ability to see ahead and should allow the driver of a large vehicle to see you in their mirrors. Getting too close to large vehicles, including agricultural vehicles such as a tractor with a trailer or other fixed equipment, will obscure your view of the road ahead, and there may be another slow-moving vehicle in front of them. 2. Make sure that you have enough room to complete your overtaking manoeuvre before committing yourself. It takes longer to pass a large vehicle than it would a regular car, so if in doubt, do not overtake. 3. Do not assume you can follow a vehicle ahead which is overtaking a large vehicle. If a problem develops, they may abort overtaking and pull back in. Also, do not cut in too quickly. Rule 165. You must not overtake 1. If you would have to cross or straddle double white lines where the line nearest to you is solid. 2. If you would have to enter an area designed to divide traffic. You can tell this if it's surrounded by a solid white line. 3. The nearest vehicle to a pedestrian crossing, especially when it has stopped to let pedestrians cross. 4. If you'd have to enter a lane reserved for buses, trams or cycles during its hours of operation. 5. After a no overtaking sign and until you pass a sign, cancelling that restriction. Rule 166. Do not overtake if there is any doubt, or where you cannot see far enough ahead to be sure that it is safe. For example, when you're approaching a corner or bend, a humped bridge, or the brow of a hill. Rule 167. Do not overtake where you might come into conflict with other road users. For example, approaching or at a road junction on either side of the road, where the road narrows, when approaching a school crossing patrol, on the approach to crossing facilities, where a vehicle ahead is slowing to stop for a pedestrian that is crossing from a pedestrian island, between the curb when a bus or tram is at a stop, where traffic is queuing at junctions or roadworks, when you would force another road user to swerve or slow down, at a level crossing, when a road user is indicating right even if you believe the signal should have been cancelled. Do not take the risk, just wait for the signal to be cancelled. They say so much stuff on Twitter, just leave them to their own devices. Stay behind if you are following a cyclist on the approach to a roundabout or a junction and you intend to turn left. Do not cut across cyclists going ahead, including those using cycle lanes and cycle tracks. Stay behind if you're following a horse rider or horse-drawn vehicle approaching a roundabout or junction and you intend to turn left. Do not cut across a horse rider or horse-drawn vehicle going ahead. And finally, when a tram is stopped at a curbside tram stop and there is no clearly marked passing lane for other traffic. Rule 168. Being overtaken. If a driver is trying to overtake you, maintain a steady course and speed, slowing down if necessary to let the vehicle pass. Never obstruct drivers who wish to pass. Speeding up or driving unpredictably while someone else is overtaking you is dangerous. Drop back to maintain a 2-second gap if someone overtakes and pulls into the gap in front of you. Rule 169. Do not hold up a long queue of traffic, especially if you are driving a large or slow-moving vehicle. Check your mirrors frequently and if necessary, pull in where it is safe and let traffic pass. Road junctions. Rules 170 to 183. Rule 170. To take extra care at junctions, you should watch out for cyclists, motorcyclists and pedestrians, including powered wheelchairs / mobility scooter users, as they are not always easy to see. Be aware that they may not have seen or heard you if you're approaching from behind. Give way to pedestrians crossing or waiting to cross a road into which or from which you are turning. If they have started to cross, they have priority, so give way. Remain behind cyclists, horse riders, horse-drawn vehicles and motorcyclists at junctions, even if they are waiting to turn and are positioned close to the curb. Watch out for long vehicles which may be turning at the junction ahead. They may have to use the whole width of the road to make the turn. Watch out for horse riders who may take a different line on the road from that which you would expect. Do not assume when waiting at a junction that a vehicle coming from the right and signalling left will actually turn. Wait and make sure. Look all around before emerging. Do not cross or join a road until there is a gap large enough for you to do so safely. Then we have a picture demonstrating that we should give way to pedestrians who have already started to cross. Rule 171. You must stop behind the line at a junction with a stop sign and a solid white line across the road. Wait for a safe gap in the traffic before you move off. Rule 172. The approach to a junction may have a give way sign or a triangle marked on the road. You must give way to the traffic on the main road when emerging from a junction with broken white lines across the road. Rule 173. Dual carriageways. When crossing or turning right, first assess whether the central reservation is deep enough to protect the full length of your vehicle. If it is, then you should treat each half of the carriageway as a separate road. Wait in the central reservation until there is a safe gap in the traffic on the second half of the road. If the central reservation is too shallow for the length of your vehicle, wait until you can cross both carriageways in one go. And then we have this picture demonstrating what not to do. Rule 174. Box junctions. These have crisscross yellow lines painted on the road. You must not enter the box until your exit road or lane is clear. However, you may enter the box and wait when you want to turn right, and are only stopped from doing so by oncoming traffic or by other vehicles waiting to turn right. At signalled roundabouts, you must not enter the box unless you can cross it completely without stopping. Junctions controlled by traffic lights. Rule 175. You must stop behind the white stop line across your side of the road unless the light is green. If the amber light appears, you may go on only if you have already crossed the stop line or are so close to it that to stop may cause a collision. Rule 176. You must not move forward over the white line when the red light is showing. Only go forward when the traffic lights are green if there is room for you to clear the junction safely or you are taking up a position to turn right. If the traffic lights are not working, treat the situation as you would an unmarked junction and proceed with great care. Rule 177. Green filter arrow. This indicates a filter lane only. Do not enter that lane unless you want to go in the direction of the arrow. You may proceed in the direction of the green arrow when it, or the green light, shows. Give other traffic, especially cyclists, time and room to move into the correct lane. Rule 178. Advanced stop lines. Some signal-controlled junctions have advanced stop lines to allow cyclists to be positioned ahead of other traffic. Motorists, including motorcyclists, must stop at the first white line reached if the lights are amber or red, and should avoid blocking the way or encroaching on the marked area at other times, such as if the junction ahead is blocked. If your vehicle has already proceeded over the first white line at the time that the signal goes red, you should stop as soon as possible and must stop at the second white line. Allow cyclists, including any moving or waiting alongside you, enough time and space to move off when the green signal shows. Drivers of large vehicles should stop sufficiently far behind the first white line so that they can see the whole area where cyclists may be waiting, allowing for any blind spot in front of the vehicle. Turning right. Rule 179. Well before you turn right, you should 1. Use your mirrors and make sure that you know the position and movement of the traffic behind you. 2. Give a right turn signal. 3. Take up a position just left of the middle of the road or in the space marked for traffic turning right. And 4. Leave room for other vehicles to pass on the left if possible. Rule 180. Wait until there is a safe gap between you and any oncoming vehicle. Watch out for cyclists, motorcyclists, pedestrians, and any other road users. Check your mirrors and blind spots again to make sure you're not being overtaken, then make the turn. Do not cut the corner. Take great care when turning into a main road, as you will need to watch for traffic in both directions and wait for a safe gap. And remember to position your vehicle correctly to avoid obstructing traffic. Rule 181. When turning right at crossroads where an oncoming vehicle is also turning right, there is a choice of two methods. First, turn right side to right side. Keep the other vehicle on your right and turn behind it. This is generally the safer method as you have a clear view of any approaching traffic when completing your turn. Left side to left side. Turning in front of each other, this can block your view of oncoming traffic, so take extra care. Cyclists and motorcyclists in particular may be hidden from your view. Road layout, markings, or how the other vehicle is positioned can determine which course should be taken. Turning left. Rule 182. Use your mirrors and give a left turn signal well before you turn left. Do not try to overtake someone before your turn, and watch out for traffic coming up on your left before you make the turn, especially if driving a large vehicle. Cyclists, motorcyclists, and other road users may be hidden from your view. Rule 183. When turning, keep as close to the left as is safe and practicable, and give way to any vehicle using a bus lane, cycle track, or tramway from either direction, including when they are passing slow-moving or stationary vehicles on either side of the road. Roundabouts. Rules 184 to 190. Rule 184. On approaching a roundabout, take notice and act on all the information available to you, including traffic signs, traffic lights, and lane markings which direct you into the correct lane. You should 1. Use mirror signal maneuver at all stages. 2. Decide as early as possible which exit you need to take. 3. Give an appropriate signal. Time your signals so as not to confuse other road users. 4. Get into the correct lane. 5. Adjust your speed and position to fit in with traffic conditions. And 6. Be aware of the speed and position of all road users around you. Rule 185. When reaching the roundabout, you should 1. Give priority to traffic approaching from your right, unless directed otherwise by signs, road markings, or traffic lights. 2. Check whether road markings allow you to enter the roundabout without giving way. If so, proceed, but still look to the right before joining. 3. Watch out for all other road users already on the roundabout. Be aware they may not be signalling correctly or at all. 4. Look forward before moving off to make sure traffic in front has moved off. Rule 186. Signals and position. When taking the first exit to the left, unless signals or markings indicate otherwise, you should signal left and approach on the left-hand lane, and keep to the left on the roundabout and continue signalling left to leave. When taking an exit to the right or going full circle, unless signals or markings indicate otherwise, you should signal right and approach in the right-hand lane. Keep to the right on the roundabout until you need to change lanes to exit the roundabout, and signal left after you have passed the exit before the one that you want. When taking any intermediate exit, unless signals or markings indicate otherwise, you should select the appropriate lane on approach to the roundabout. You should not normally need to signal on approach to the roundabout. You should stay in the lane until you need to alter course to exit the roundabout, and you should signal left after you've passed the exit before the one that you want. When there are more than 3 lanes at the entrance to a roundabout, use the most appropriate lane on approach and through it. You should give priority to cyclists on the roundabout, as they will be travelling slower than motorised traffic. Give them plenty of room and do not attempt to overtake them within their lane. Allow them to move across your path as they travel around the roundabout. Cyclists, horse riders and horse-drawn vehicles may stay in the left-hand lane when they intend to continue across or around the roundabout, and should signal right to show you that they are not leaving the roundabout. Drivers should take extra care when entering a roundabout to ensure that they do not cut across cyclists, horse riders or horse-drawn vehicles in the left-hand lane who are continuing around the roundabout. Rule 187. In all cases, watch out for and give plenty of room to pedestrians who may be crossing the approach and exit roads, traffic crossing in front of you on the roundabout, especially vehicles intending to leave by the next exit, traffic which may be straddling lanes or positioned incorrectly, motorcyclists, and long vehicles, including those towing trailers. These may have to take a different course or straddle lanes either approaching or on the roundabout because of their length. Watch out for their signals. Rule 188. Mini roundabouts. Approach these in the same way as you would normal roundabouts. All vehicles must pass around the central markings except large vehicles, which are physically incapable of doing so. Remember, there is less space to manoeuvre and less time to signal, so avoid making U-turns and beware others attempting them. Rule 189. At double mini roundabouts, treat each roundabout separately and give way to traffic on the right. Rule 190. Multiple roundabouts. At some complex junctions, there may be a series of mini roundabouts at each intersection. Treat each mini roundabout separately and follow the normal rules. Rule 193. You should take extra care where the view of either side of the crossing is blocked by queuing traffic or incorrectly parked vehicles. Bear in mind, pedestrians may attempt to cross between stationary vehicles. Rule 194. Allow pedestrians plenty of time to cross and do not harass them by revving your engine or edging forward. No edging in traffic, please. Rule 195. Zebra and parallel crossings. As you approach a zebra crossing, look out for pedestrians waiting to cross and be ready to slow down or stop to let them cross. You should give way to pedestrians waiting to cross. You must give way to a pedestrian who is already crossing. Allow yourself more time to stop when in dangerous conditions, such as when the roads are wet or when the roads are icy. Do not wave, flash your lights, or use your horn to invite pedestrians across. This could be dangerous if there's another vehicle approaching. Be patient. Do not sound your horn or rev your engine, as this can be intimidating. And be aware of pedestrians approaching from the side of the crossing. A zebra crossing with a central island is considered 2 separate crossings. Parallel crossings are similar to zebra crossings but include a cycle route alongside the black and white stripes. As you approach a parallel crossing, take the same precautions as you would for a zebra crossing, but extend them to pedestrians and cyclists. Finally, a parallel crossing with a central island is considered two separate crossings. Signal-controlled crossings. Rule 196. Pelican crossings. These are signal-controlled crossings where flashing amber follows the red stoplight. You must stop when the red light shows. When the amber light is flashing, you must give way to any pedestrians already on the crossing. If the amber light is flashing and there are no pedestrians on the crossing, you may proceed with caution. Don't go full pelt. There may be a child that you've not noticed. Rule 197. Pelican crossings which go straight across the road are one crossing, even when there is a central island. You must wait for pedestrians who are crossing from the other side of the road. Rule 198. Give way to anyone still crossing after the signal for vehicles has changed to green. This advice applies to all crossings. Rule 199. Toucan, puffin, and equestrian crossings. These are similar to pelican crossings, but there is no flashing amber phase. The light sequence for traffic at these three crossings is the same as at traffic lights. If the signal-controlled crossing is not working, proceed with extreme caution. Do not enter the crossing if you are unable to completely clear it to avoid obstructing pedestrians, cyclists, or horse riders. Reversing. Rules 200 to 203. Rule 200. Choose an appropriate place to maneuver. If you need to turn your vehicle around, wait until you find a safe place. Do not try to reverse or turn around in a busy road. Instead, find a quiet side road or drive around a block of side streets. Rule 201. Do not reverse from a side road onto a main road. When using a driveway, reverse in and drive out if you can. Rule 202. Look carefully before you start reversing. You should use all your mirrors. Check the blind spot behind you, the part of the road you cannot see easily in your mirrors. And check there are no pedestrians, particularly children, cyclists, other road users or obstructions in the road behind you. Reverse slowly while checking all around, looking mainly through your rear window, and being aware that the front of your vehicle will swing out as you turn. If you cannot see clearly, try to get someone to guide you. And finally, Rule 203. You must not reverse your vehicle further than necessary. I'm sorry, you can't just go the whole way backwards. It's tragic!